So, hi everybody and welcome back to this Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 20 and in this video we continue with our game. We stopped by creating a character, we just set up a character, but we have not programmed the character. Here is our fast overview. We finished our widget, now we are in gameplay, and gameplay has different categories, and these categories are this ones here. We finished a little bit the bare bone of a level design, and now we are here at the player character. We can spawn the player character, we set it up the UI, and now we need to code this player character so that it can move. Actually, we could make this also in a player controller, but I skipped this step because our game is very little, very tiny, so I don't need another class to make it, and if I need I will create it separately, but right now I plan to use the player character to write my input, and which means first of all let's open our player character. We have set it up here in our default settings, which means we go here to our game mode, which is in our gameplay map, and here in game mode you can see here is now our default pawn class is our player character, which we created in our last video. I open this one up, double click on it, and you can see we just set up here a sphere as a player character, which is just a static mesh. And now we need coding stuff. All right, we need to code a little bit, and what we are going to code is, I have already created a test character. Can show you that what we are going to do here, and you can see not that much but also not that less, so we will do exactly the same thing like here, and I will explain what this is. First of all, let's start with this begin play. Let me copy this over and let me explain what it is. So first of all, let's kick here out, paste this in, and here we start. If you don't have a begin play, right click on it and search begin play, because most time when we start working with blueprints we use begin play. So when you click here on this play button here on top, that this node is triggered. So the next thing what we want is, at first I need an actor location, which means what is the actor location? So you can see the player start I have placed here, for example on the left side here. And what I need is exactly this position here. And how I get it? Very easy. I know that my player is spawning here. That means I can just get with, you can just write here get actor location. And this get actor location is a built-in node which is asking which actor you want as a target. And because I'm calling it already from my character, which is the actor which will be spawned here, that's why I have the target here self. If you have another target, then you would, for example, if I would a player controller, then I would put in here the target of this player character. So I would have to find it. But in this case, I am not using a player controller, that because I'm in this character itself. We write here self. Then the next thing is we create a variable because I want this location for later setups. What I want set up later is here. Later we will set up change location, and this change location needs a start point where you started, and that's why I need the start position. All right, how we make this? All time when you have this node here, which is our character, which is the place where we spawn here at this gameplay. So we can just promote this to a variable, or promoting to a variable means all time just you create a variable. Of course you can create it manually, but why you should create it manually when you can make it this way faster? That's a feature we use instead of creating it manually. So with that said, we create this, but still the name we have to set because it's not a good name here. So we go here to the left side to the variables, click it, press F2, which means rename it. Of course you can just click on it and then right click and rename as well, but you can see the shortcut is F2 here, so it's faster when you know it. And then you write here name, for example player start location, and now we have our player start location. Now you can see that's exactly this one what I have here. I have here already made it. That's why I use here as well the comment, and that's our first step. With that step, and I compile, and what I have here an error. This one here, this variable which I created, was not exactly the same here. That was the error. So now it's the same because I created it with the other one. Now compile and save. It works. That was this variable here. All right. So that was our first step. What is this doing? Actually, it is just when you press play, it is just getting our location and saving it here, and no more or less. And here one more step, of course, when you create a variable and you compile it, watch all time the default value if you want this one. In our case, we don't set a default value because we get the default value here, and so we can keep the default value at start 000. That's done. Nice. Okay, the next step is my character test. We set up we set up input. All right, so I said, like I said, I make the input in my character, and with the right mouse click here, but normally I want a touch input, but that's later. That's not later for, oops, cancel what I have here. Can't copy this, left mouse button. Okay, let's make this input mode what I'm going to create here. First of all, I'm using the left mouse button. Left mouse button. You can use as an input later also touch input. But interesting is you can even simulate touch input. That's why I have here this touch here, and I used it from this runner game. He simulated the touch, and how we can simulate touch. With other words, you can go here. Let me show you this. You go here to edit, to project settings. Then you go to input here on the side, and here down is anywhere something with mouse properties, and in mouse properties you can see set this the checkbox use mouse for touch, which means if you use a touch node, it will also trigger like if you are using a mouse node. But careful, if you use this one, then the mouse is not triggering, I think. We can test this later, but keep this in mind that you can use here touch. That was on the runner game, but we are not doing this. We are using the normal mouse button, which means in this case, because I'm releasing it for a desktop, just the normal mouse button, left mouse button, and this left mouse button is already set up in project settings, so I have nothing to set up. With that said, let me drink here something fast. Okay, that's good. Drinking is all time good. Okay, we continue. What we need more? So we have to check this one, and here a little bit more code. And why it's not copying that, I don't know. Let me try this one to copy one more time. Move left, move right. Okay, now I get it. No, it's not copying because we have here no function setups, but it's okay. So let's take this just as a reference, and then I explain all what I do here. So first of all, or the next step is this setup. What you see here is needed later when we have set up this move, the movement of the character, because this one is more set up the controls. So what we do is we skip the whole part here. This one, when I click here, we have to set this up later. First, we have to set up the move part, which is this part here. And yeah, let me take this as a reference again. So this takes a while to explain. And let's paste it here down. All right. And okay, we need now this move part. So first of all, what I'm doing here is when I click here this mouse button, I want that this character which I'm going to spawn here, you can see, what's that? Fail to compile. Just failing to compile here. All right, of course. And okay, this can fail to compile plain editor. All right, now it's failing and it's complaining. Okay, where's not a good idea. Anyway, what I mean is when I click now here the mouse button, I want that the character is jumping from this side to the other side, and then when I click again to the same button, to the left mouse button, so I click only one button here, so it is a one button play, then it should jump back. So that's the whole thing what I want. And then I click again and jumping here and jumping here. This is the whole control what I need for this game. So this setup is here, and now we have to figure out how we are doing this. And the realization is with a timeline. The timeline is set up so that when you click it one time, it will start here from play start, and then one of this one is triggered, then it will be updated, whatever it is, and then when you click it to reverse from add, it is turning around. So we have to set up it only one time forward, and then we use the next node here, reverse from end of this timeline. But step by step, before we can use that, I need here a custom event, which means when I click the mouse, I want that a custom event fires, and then we will set up all this code here. So let's create a custom event. Right click, write custom event. Custom event means all time you want start something, and let's write it move to right. Let's call it move right here. And when I click it again with the mouse, which I have here on top, I want that it moves back. Okay, let's make one more custom event. Of course, there are different solutions for that, but let's use this one, move left. And so, and now I press this, of course, and here we can already set up this move right and left on the right wall. And so, and how we can set this up like this one here, we can use this one on the right wall setup, and then this one. Okay. Before we, so we want here, we want to use the mouse here. When I click, then it should first start one of them. And now this is a special setup. I mean special because we are using only one mouse button. So I need to set up it so that when I click it, that the other one is activated. And there are different ways. And here we make it with a branch. You already saw it here. Here we use a branch, and the branch needs a condition. But first of all, let's create a branch from my mouse clicked branch, and later we set up the other things here in front as well. You can see there are other things here in front, but we skip this. We start from here. And the branch should call now this custom events, because I click here the mouse, so move right when the branch here, the condition, branch means all time you check here a condition. If the condition says true, call this one. For example, let's call it move right. Move right, you write just you created custom events, and you see custom events behaves like normal functions, which means this is a function call. And the same goes, and if it's false, then we just call move left. So we set up now, you can see it, our custom events, our click, but we need a condition. So the condition is I have a start point, so you can see here I start here on the left or on the right, in this case on this side on the left. I don't know why, but let's see if this is here on the right wall. It says here on the right wall, but I'm not sure if this is working on the right wall. In my case, on the left wall. Let's call it on the left wall. We create here here you can create here a variable manually. Of course, you can make here also something like promote to variable. Again, promote to variable is just a shortcut, but this time instead of promote to variable, I show you the long way, which means you click here a plus sign, then you write a condition, and this is our start wall where our player is starting, and on the left wall in my case, on the left wall, and then you compile this. Okay, I have here set up this one here. Let's select this kind of stuff here. It's annoying a little bit. And yeah. So now let's compile this one here. I'm not using this anyway, but it works now. And important is when you make a variable, boolean, anything like that, you have to check this default value. So selecting the value, the variable, check the default value, and here you can see it is false by default. By default I want to set it to true, and then I can use it. So you can see now I connect this one, and that was the long way. The short way would be if you just click here, promote to variable, it will create this one and so on. All right, so that was only for showcase. And yeah, so with this setup, I have set up this variable by default to true, which means when I click it the first time, it will activate this move right. So I'm starting on the left wall here. That's why I placed my player start here. My character, my sphere will hear my character or pawn or whatever you call it. And when I click, then first time it will jump here to the other side. And then later we will set up a little bit more about this one, but right now this is just our setup. Because let me see this fast what I did there. Game mode gameplay I don't need right now. And this is my test here. Okay, we can see here on the right wall, on the right wall. Do I need this? I'm not sure if I need this one here because I'm not using it. It was just for test purposes probably. No, I need it. Oops, of course. These are settings. So okay. Here, this variable, we have to say, of course, what happens on which side of the wall we are after we click this button, which means we have to set it. So when we click here, first time it will execute this one, and then I'm on the right wall, which means I have to set the variable here to false. And the reason is I'm here on the left wall, and here it is false, and here when I'm on the right wall again, on the left wall again, I set it to true. So that is just let's see, yeah, this is just for yeah, so you are just marking which wall you are, and this is needed later for this click here actually. So when I click it, then not this one here, sorry, this one here, when I click it, then it will just set here on which wall we are, but I'm not sure if I need this or I just tested this out. Anyway, we'll see it in a moment. So let's continue with our setup of the movement, because this one here, what you see here, is just this one click button setup, right? So I click one time, it goes here, then it resets this so that when you click again, it will definitely go down to here, which means it will just jump from here and here between. Jump between these nodes means you are jumping from here to here between these two walls. This is our setup. That's why we are resetting, we are setting this here to this one and this one. So this one is needed just to set up this one, so we are all time toggling here between this one. So we could make this with a toggle as well, I think. So with a I think with a N flip-flop, with a flip-flop, I think that would be even possible. Because you are just clicking then A and B, it probably shorter. I'm not sure, but it's possible, because you could make just this flip-flop, you connect this here, and then you don't care about the setups here, because you're just toggling between this. But we can test this later just for test purposes. Right now I have to set up this jumping, right? But before that, let's write here a comment and write jumping from one wall to the other one, perhaps toggling the functions. This toggling the functions I just wrote, perhaps we replace this with a flip-flop, because like I said, a flip-flop is normally also possible. I want to not replace it right now. I'm not sure if I'm not using this later in the code. That's why let's keep it. If we are not using this later in the code, I will just kick it, probably kick this one and just use this flip-flop here. It's one node. We shorten the whole thing here. All right, with that said, we are going to the next step, which is a little bit bigger and a little bit more to talk, because we are using a very, very powerful node, which is timeline. Timeline is one of the, I would say, one of the real powerful nodes which you should learn definitely more in depth. And the reason for that is timeline can do not only set times, which is means you can activate code depending on a time or set a timer. No, there is something more. It can start events. Events I mean it can create something, a timeline like this white line, which means you can set up a time and then it starts from this one a new yes, one of these white lines, which means an execution line, which means you can program then after this what you want. So in general, you should learn timelines more in detail. But in this video, we are just focusing on finishing this jump from one part to another part. And yeah, let's create a timeline. Right click, write timeline. And this timeline, what I have here is just a copy from this runner, so I just copied some values and not all. I skipped some parts because I wanted not to make yes, I want to make it simple. So where is the timeline here? Where is the timeline? The timeline now. Add timeline here on the bottom. It is this node here. It says here add timeline. So we add a timeline. We call it let's call it move character or something like that. So we move the character, and like I said, we will use now here in timeline play from start, and then we will use here reverse from end. This one I just copied from the runner file. And like I said, you should learn definitely this node timeline more in depth, perhaps in a separate video, because it's a really powerful node for different purposes, different places, and different things. So after this timeline, we have to set up a timeline. Set up a timeline means you double click on this timeline. And when you double click on this timeline, you see here on top, it creates a separate window. And here is our event graph. Where is that? Why I can't jump back? Let's see what I did here again wrong. Now here's our event graph. What's going on? All right, one more time. So I click double on it. I don't know why I can't go back. I don't know what's happening. Is this, I click here something wrong or not? Anyway, that's not so important. Important is normally you should be able to go back anyhow. I don't know why I can't go back anyhow. So anyway, that's not so important. What you are doing is you create now this timeline, then you double click on, and then this window opens up. And then what you can do is add here tracks. We have here on top track, then we have a length of the time. This is the timeline length, and then we have here some other options which we don't care right now. Perhaps to free physics. You should read these other things too, but right now we don't care. We just try to finish it right. So the length which I take is I set it from the other one. So I use this timeline from here and they set it to 0.3. Let's set it. So this length is how long this timeline should run. This code, which will be executed at this point here, and now I can't switch to show this anyway. So you start here track and then you click this track here and you can see you have your different options. And yeah, you read this in a video of the tutorial when you learn timelines. What we need is very simple, the float one, and we need this vector, I think. So at this one, let's call this, let's see, I copied just what I called it here, pitch and ratio. Did I make a really ratio here? No, okay. Anyway, let's call this one pitch and the other one a ratio. Let's click here one more time, but the second one I use here now this vector, okay, and let's call this ratio. All right, now we have these two timelines. We have set up the time and now we have to focus a little bit. Let's set up the time later. Let's set it by 5 now so that it's full. For later I set it back to 3, but right now I want it so. And then what I want to do next is compile first save like all time. And here we start now with the pitch values here, how you make here keyframes. Keyframes are some values where you start, right click on it, and then you can see we can add here a key. And here we add 1 and I need 2, I think, at this point. Then I do it here one more time and then I compare how many I have here. Let's make this and this. Here I have 2. So let's make it 2 and the one is 0, 0. You can, when you hover your mouse over it, you can see here the value 0, 0 and the other one is 0, 3, 180. Let's write this one here too. So I select the first one here and you can see here is the time. That was the first one was 0, 0. In value, so the time was 0, the value was 0, so we are here at the start point. I select the second one and that was anything 0.3, 180, I think. And then you can't see the next point. And what you can do if you can't see it, you can see here these two buttons, which means you scale it so that you can see it. Just click both. And now we can see it. Let's compare the number here one more. It's 0.3. 0.3, 180. This little bit don't worry about if it's a 179. That is a little error what happens all time with floats and with decimal point numbers. So if it's near enough, that's okay for us. And then when we compare this line, this looks like a curve and this one looks like not a curve. This is just a straight line. So how can we make this a curve? And there are different ways. One way is just click on this one. Now here when you click it, you can just see I can just change here the values, but of course you can right click on it as well. And then you have here different options. And in this option what we are using is a user. And user, when you click user, then you see here it pops up this little colored line and you can grab it with your mouse, hold left mouse button, and you can see now I can make something like a curve or something like what I think it's cool. So, and that's not so important how it should just look like a curve, and that's it for my case. And then you click this and that's okay. That's nice. Now I set this one back to 0.3, so this is the length which I want. And yeah, let's go to the next one. So the next one is, let's compile save first fast. The next one is a little bit more, there you have to select a little bit more because it's a vector. Vector means you have here actually 3 lines. And to work with all lines separately, you have to lock them. You can see we have here a lock something. And first of all, let's start with x. X means we have here else on I and lock. So first of all, we make the I open, which means this one x is now visible, and the other ones we close. And if we close them, then you can see now x is only activated right now. Right click on it, and it says here add key to the line x. We need this, and let's check how many we need here. Here I close them too. I have here 2. For this one, let's add 2. Let's add just first the keys and later we add the values. So now I want to do the same thing for the other one. But when I open up this I now and right click here, you can see it is not selecting the y axis. And what you have to do is now lock the first one. So the x one we have set, lock it. And still not, then lock the other one as well. Then now right click and you can see add key to Y. So all time what is open you have to make open, other ones you lock, and then it shows. The first one was a little bit different, but this is the right way to do it. And now we can watch here the values. Here X I need again 2 keys. Okay, let's add here also 2. The values later. And then the same thing here, I close this one, I close this one, I open up now set, and open also the lock because I want set there. And now you can see when I right click, I can add again keys to the set axis. And now let's watch here the values fast. So 3, you can see I need here 3. Let's set this one up as well. So 3, 1, 2, 3, and let's make the values now, because that was just set up the yeah, let's set up the values. So first of all, I open up the I open up the clock, and you can see now I have the x values, and the x value, let's do the same here. I want to see the x here, 0, 0, and 0, 3, minus 1. All right, the first one, I select the first one, I write 0, 0. That's my first value, and my second value was 0, 3, and minus 1. All right, that was my first. I lock this. I open up the second, and I watch the second value fast here. And you can see we have here at the first one, what we have here, I click on it, 0, 0 again, and 0, 3, 0. All right, let's go here. Select this one. It's nice, 0, 0, and 0, 3, 0 was this one, 0, 3, 0. All right, that's also set up. And let's do this last step here. We close this one, open this one up. So we have here 0, 0. Here we have 0, 3, and in the middle we have 0, 5, 1. All right, let's see if we can make this. We got here 0, 0. We got here in the middle was anything like, what was this, 0, what was it, 1, 5, I don't know, 0, 1, 5, anything. I messed it already up. Let's see again, 1 and 0, 3, 0. Okay, now I have it. That is 1, and that was 0, 3, and 0. All right, I think that was our setup. Compile, save, and that was my timeline setup, which means this should be finished. So, took a while to set up these values, and I just copied these values. Of course, when you learn this timeline, you should learn how to set up these values, how to calculate these values, but all this kind of stuff I skip here because, yeah, like I said, you need a special tutorial for this node. It's so important to understand this more in detail. And of course a little bit drinking. So now we set up this one. Let's continue and set up also this code what we need. So what I need here is actually one more node. You can see it, this node here, which says set actor location and rotation. And this rotation thing is just for that it looks a little bit visual interesting. You could also set just the actual location, but we want this rotation as well. So because I set it up here, Normally I could make this much more simpler, but whatever, I just copied this from the other one and use it. I think he got it even more complex. He had your animation thing, and so I skipped that part. At least I made it a little bit easier. All right. Okay, sorry. Let's right click it and find this node here, set actor location and rotation. Why we need this node first? Of course, we have set up a timeline. The timeline need now to know where you want to go. That's why we need this new actor location, and that's the node here. Not this one, that's the node here, which is setting up the new location. So important is here not the rotation, the location it's here important. Okay, let's find this. Right click, set actor location. And you can see there is also a location node. If you don't want to calculate rotation, just use this location node. It's easier actually, but we make this a little bit spin in, which means this rotation, that it looks a little bit more animated, I think. And that's why we need the other one. Okay, set actor location, but this time with rotation and rotation. But that means also we have to calculate a little bit more, but that's not a big deal because I just copy it and do nothing myself. Of course, you can make this also on your own. So let's set up these values fast, and we are then almost finished with our setup. So let's see what we need. First of all, we start from which node? From the update. We start with the update, which means all the timelines which we set up here will be updated. Updated means will be used, just used. And then after it is used, there is also something like a finished. And then the other ones which you see here, this out pins, this is the timeline what we set up here, what we can use now. Yeah. You can see then what you set up. If you set up here more things, then you would have here a little bit more pins. For example, we set up here a float. That's why we have a float. And then we set up here this ratio. There we have a vector. Let me show you this one. You can see we have here set up the float. This is our pitch line. And this one is our ratio line. This is the vector with the 3 lines which we set up. And actually we can right click and split this pin, and these are the 3 values which we set up in our timeline. You can see these 3 values here are represented now here because I split here. Let me click this away. Because I split this yes, I pressed here right click and then split the pin. Of course, this is just a vector. We know this shortcut. This is very handy and nice that we can do this instantly. And we are using this one as well this way. So with that said, let's set up here a little bit. And now here on top, at event begin play, I said we need this player location, and now we needed to set the new location. We calculated, actually we are making a little calculation with the new location. The calculation is very simple. We take the location where we start, this is our start location, and then we are adding just something to the start location and say that will be our new location. So we make just a go from the start location, add a little bit values to the start location, and then just set it up to the new location. And this new add thing here from this location, from our start location, is the calculation. Now you have to find the right values to get to this point here. That's it, what you would normally do to try it out. I don't try it out because I just copied it from the other project and I just use it. So, but of course, if you want to make a variation or your own calculations, then you make it. I have now too less time to do this. I just use the values, and perhaps I change it a little bit later if I have time, what I don't have. All right, let's continue. So let's see which values we have here. So here I will use all the 3 pins anyhow. I can see we need the node make vector. And the reason for that is normally we start here with a vector, but we are calculating to this vector other values. So we are adding there something, and then we are making this, and then we are creating a new vector, and this vector we will add here. So first of all, let me show you how we start. Let's recombine struct. You can see this is a vector. Normally, if you would go here and add this one to this one, that is nothing, because we have not changed anything. We won't change here from here new values. And like I said before, this one you would normally try to calculate how you get from here to here. And the person who had made this one already calculated this one, and I'm just using this one. So right click, I split the pin, and for every value here, he has something, and this something we are creating now. What I want to point out is the reason why we split this is we want add to every line a separate value. You can see it here. We add here to the X something, and then we add, and the Y we are just adding nothing, we're just taking, and Z we are doing something again, and then we create a new vector. Creating a new vector means just that we can connect it here, because here we split it, then we added some, we will add something, and then we need of course convert this one again to a vector so that we can pull it here, yes, push it here in, right? Okay, let's do the steps now. So enough talk. So I want add from x1 something. So I go here from x. Oh, let's start with the pitch. I think that's the easiest way, because on pitch we add nothing, we just take the pitch. But here is a problem. Where is here? Where are this pins here? Here we see here this new rotation. When you right click on it, again split pin, and we have here this new rotation things, and here this pitch here we want use, the other ones we don't want use. So I go from this pitch and I select this here. This is now my new pitch, and because I need the broom here, I make it double clicks. If you double click on the lines, you can all the time create this reroute nodes, and this reroute nodes you set it how you like it. I like it a little bit so in this case. And now this was our first line. Let's go to the next line, which is just adding to the x value something. So we start from here, and I make just a plus, and a plus is a shortcut for add. You can also write an add, and you can see we have a add. And now this add value is, what is he adding? A distance between wall. So what he did is he calculated this distance from here, and he say, okay, when we start from here, I need, and this one is the x value, right? So this one, you can see the red line is the x value. So he calculated the distance from here to here and said, okay, when I start here, which is 0, 0, then I just add this distance here, and then I'm here. So, and that is he actually doing with this x here. So very simple. And he saved this distance in a variable, which means you can here right click, promote this one to a variable, and you can call it this time distance wall, distance between wall, distance between walls. Then of course compile it, and now you can select this variable again, and here on the right side all time set this calculated value which you would have here. I use just his value. What is his value, or what I use there? Let's see. Go here, I go here, and I set it to 870. It's here. Okay, let's see if this is working later. So 870 was his calculation. All right, 870. And now this is one value. And let's see what I need here. Yeah, and then we make our vector. Like I said, this one you can see is just one x, and we need later to pull it here. Of course, you can make something like 2. You don't have to make this vector actually, what you can do is with this blueprint, which is really nice, you can right click here, split print, and you can see this one is converting this one. So which other words, I can use this one. So I can skip this node here and use it, the built-in version. It's a built-in version. Let's use this one. I used it not before. Like I said, I just copied this one, but this time I used this version. And important is that you just connected the right pins, X. So this one should go to X, all right. Then this one should go here. Let's go with the Y. The Y-axis is just a direct connection. Okay, let's connect this directly, but this looks awful because I see nothing and I like to see the lines at least a little bit. And yeah, that's why I make this way. But this is just style. Can make it like you want it. But I make it so that I can see all time the lines. I don't know why. I like it this way. And yeah, let's see. And then I need one more calculation, the set calculation. Like before, we go here. Is this a multiply? This time it's a multiply, and I made a wrong thing. Sorry. I used here a add. It was a multiply, not add. We are multiplying. So delete this one out of here and write multiply. I was just blind, but it's the same principle. So we are doing something here, X, just with multiply this time. All right, and then we connect it here again. It's okay. It's working. And with that said, what we have next is, let's keep this one here. And now we are doing the next thing with set also multiply. So let's go here again, write multiply, and you will see here's operator multiply. Click on it, and then we have this one, and we multiply again something, and here select this Q for lining up if you want a straight line or something like that. And yeah, this looks really bad. I don't know, but okay, well, it's okay. Then we multiply this one, and here again promote this one to variable, because we need again a new setting up variable, which is that, which is this jump height. Okay, now let me show, I explain it in a moment. Let's write here jump height, and let's compile, and let's find the jump height value fast, and then I explain it what this is. It says already the jump height is 500. I set it to 500. Okay, the jump height is here, like you can see, like before. Let me go here. We start here. X value will says, okay, you will go here, I will bring you here. And the jump height, this value which we have right now here, the set, says, okay, you want go not a straight line, perhaps you want go first up and then anyhow here, and this up and anyhow here is determined by our timeline, you know. Here this set here is to, when I show this one in this way, by the way, why is this not working? Because I have not visible that. No, what's going on? That should be focused normally. It's not focusing. What I make wrong? I don't know why this one is not really automatically focusing there. Change test. Oops, that was it, not even the right place. I wanted focus here. Also worse. Anyway, here. So you can see here, this one is that what I wanted to show you. Here are the 3 lines, right? And this set line is the way how you jump. You go first up and later down. So when I start this character, you will go first up, and this is the height you want go, and then you want go later down. So it will make here this move here. All right, that's cool, I hope. And yeah, let's continue. So this was this jump height, and all right, I think that's almost our setup. It looks good so far. This one, we are not finished, but we are good to, what's that? Moving. All right, there is some a little bit more to set up. But I think that's for this one here. And let's write here also a comment. Enter moving from one wall to other. Okay. Here I'm jumping from one wall to other. Here I'm moving from one. These are the same because here you are using the mouse and here you are coding all the moves here. Perhaps we should write here one more thing, which means moving, not moving. Script coding, moving from one wall to other wall. Perhaps this one. All right. So we have this part here also done. Then I need which part I need next? Almost finished. There is a little bit more to do. The thing what we need here is here it's just here on top where I click the left mouse button that I jump from one to another place. There it's not finished. We have to set up a little bit more there, but we can already test it. So here is the start. I click and you can see it is already jumping. So it is doing that what we wanted, and I set you this height here, the set one is going up. And yeah, this is already working a little bit. Perhaps you have to adjust the camera and adjust here the cube or this sphere. Perhaps we can make here first a flat sphere, which means I select here the sphere, I go here to details panel and I scale here this Y a little bit lower so it is a flat sphere. Let's say let's test one. You can see now it's just a, let's see what happens now, how this looks like. It looks similar, right, before, but it's not similar because when I press now F8, F8 means I can check here, examine the things. You can see it's flat. Okay, the position is also not perfect. I should go here a little bit, but I have to change here probably the player start. Let me see if this is okay now. No, I have to change the player start as well a little bit. Okay, these are just optimizations and so, but I will skip this one in this video. What I'm more doing right now is the last part. And what is the problem here? We are normally finished, but not exactly finished. We need one more step here. And what is the problem? Let's say, so what is the problem here? The problem is when I start this game, I can click, that looks good, but look what happens when I click fast. You can see that is not really... Is this going to the other place? Not really, because you are switching here a little bit fast. And to avoid that, we can make again a setup, and I think that's the setup here on front. We set up a thing which is just to say, okay, if we have clicked here one of these buttons, which means the ball is moving, then you should not able to click again. Perhaps you can make this with a do once node as well with reset, but yeah, this is another option. And this one is the setup with variables, which is a little bit longer, I think, but I think it's okay. It's also, yeah, we can see if we can, oops. We can see, where is what I did again? Again, begin Minecraft. I don't know what this is doing here all time. This one is behaving a little bit strange. No, it's okay. So we set this up, and like I said, we will here do one more thing, and this is just, perhaps I should just use the do once node and then reset it. No, because no, let's skip this and let's make it this way. So I just add this code, and what this code is doing is just, let me explain you this in a moment. And I connected this one. This one is just checking if we are moving. So we create a variable again. I make this here create variable moving. So you can see I have created this one. I compile this one. I set now a default value for this variable. And at start it is true, because at start I want that it be true. Then I set this moving to false. So what I do next is I grab this here, I set, you can see, then I connect this here just normal like this one. And this one important is that I set it now to false, because at start it was true. Now it is false, which means when you click again right after this frame, it will go here again right in, but here to this node, and there is nothing. So you have to wait till I set this variable moving to true again. And that's the next point where we set this variable moving to true, is where we are setting this. That's a very good question. I think it was behind there anyway, but let me show character, the test character here fast. And this place was down here at the finish here on the timeline. That's very important. And yeah, so where we are setting it, it's here. We want that when we click it, that the character is jumping, and after the jump is finished, that after that we can click again. So between that, we don't want that you can click again, so that it is calling the reverse jump. All right, that's all it what we are doing with that, and that's here. So that's the thing what I do here after this one, which means I get this moving, set moving, and here I set moving again to true after I'm finished with my jump, which is this move timeline doing. I think we can set this one also here in, so don't need a separate command for this one. Yeah, that's okay. And here we can write a comment and write here enabling jump, enabling jump. Now let's write it other way around, disabling jump between move. Yeah, something like that. Between move makes more sense. All right, so I'm disabling the jump so that you can't click between the moves, right? So that's it. And I think that's the thing for our simple. You can see now I can click here more times, but it is all time finishing the one wall. So it is not just going here halfway. And so all right, the functionality so far is cool, and let's see if I can show you this with the toggle as well. I think this one we could make a toggle, but careful, we can make the toggle here only here. So this one, I think this one you could replace really with a toggle here, all this kind of stuff, because we are not using this in other places. Which means if you use here this flip-flop, in short, let me show you this one as well. This one would work too. And you have less code. So let's see if this is true. This is just for testing purposes. Compile, save. And here I start. And you can see this one is the shorter version. So, like I said, there are a million times of different kind of implementations. There are millions. Use that what you know. That's my advice. This toggle is shorter, but I set up all the other stuff here, so let's use this one. I don't worry about this toggle node or this one. But you see, if you have a little bit more knowledge, you can use a little bit easier things and set it up easier, more simple. And in my case, I could even set up this one more simple. But yeah. That's enough for this video. I think that's a lot of stuff what we covered here. And you see the things is not bad, it's working already. The next thing what we need here is also this these obstacles who are coming down where we have to avoid it. And yeah, that's almost our gameplay, but then of course we have to go to the widget, to the score, and then we have to more things here. But it is not that bad. We are good on the way. And with that said, I think I stop here with this video. And if you have any questions, any complaints like all time, write it in the comments. If not, see us in the next video. And bye, good luck, and have fun like all time.